ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं तत्तो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। मम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जलिः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्य। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर वासादि गौरवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Okay, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, chapter verse 18. Soham priyasya surada paradevataya लीला कथास्तव नृसिंह विरिंच गीताः अंजस्थितर्मि अनुगृणन् गुण विप्रमुक्तो दुर्गाणि ते पद युगालय हमससंगः। O my Lord Narasimha, by engaging in your transcendental loving service in the association of devotees who are liberated souls, Hamsa, I shall become completely uncontaminated association with modes of material nature and be able to chant the glories of your Lordship, who are so dear to me. I shall chant your glories, following exactly in the footsteps of Rama and his disciplic succession. In this way, I shall undoubtedly be able to cross the ocean of. The devotee's life and duty are very well explained herein. As soon as a devotee can chant the holy name and glories of the Supreme Lord, he certainly comes to the liberated position. So you have to chant the holy name and glories of this Lord. Then he certainly comes to the liberated position. Attachment for glorifying the Lord by hearing and chanting the holy name and activities of the Lord certainly brings one to the position where material contamination is absent. So again, Prabhupada is rephrasing the same thing again. Important. So chanting the holy name, hearing and chanting the holy name, and also activities of the Lord. One should chant the bona fide songs received from disciplic succession. These songs can be the songs of our acharyas, songs in Bhagavatam, etc. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that the chanting is powerful when one follows the disciplic succession. Manufacturing many ways of chanting will never be effective. However, chanting the song or the narration left by previous acharyas is extremely effective, and this process is easy. Yeah. Only thing is, all this has to be done based on adhikara, uh, based on our qualification. Therefore, in this verse, Prahlada uses the word anjaha easily, accepting the thoughts of exalted authorities through disciplic success. A best process is to accept the instructions of the previous acharyas and follow them. Then God realization and self-realization become extremely easy. By following this easy method, one is liberated from the contamination of the modes of matter, and thus one can certainly, in which there are many miserable conditions. By following the footsteps of the great acharyas, one associates with the hamsas, paramhamsas, those who are completely freed from material contamination. Indeed, by following the instructions of acharyas, one is always freed from all material contamination, and thus one's life becomes good for one of life. This material world is miserable regardless of one's of life, meaning whether we are rich, poor, blah, 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 doesn't matter, it's miserable. Of this, there is no doubt. Attempts to mitigate the miseries of material existence by material methods will never be successful. Hmm. Of course, I mean, sometimes it can be that some solution might be there, like eventually it's going to still bring us. One must take to Krishna consciousness to become really happy. Otherwise, happiness is impossible. One might say that becoming advanced in spiritual life falls tapasya, acceptance of some inconvenience. However, such inconvenience is not as dangerous as material attempts to mitigate all misery. Very, very powerful. But each and every line we can go on discussing for. Okay, so let me. Hmm. So first here, so we should engage in transcendental loving service in the association of liberated souls. Okay, this is the first thing. And uh, then by engaging, one becomes free, one becomes liberated himself. So by engaging in transcendental loving service in the association of liberated souls, one becomes liberated himself and be able to chant the glories of the of. Mm. So this association is very, very important. Okay, and then naturally one will become liberated and achieve perfection. Mm. So Prabhupada is saying this is the life and duty. The devotee is to chant the holy name and also the glories of the Lord, and it should be done in the association of liberated souls, so that we can also become liberated. Mm. And one has to follow parampara. This is 2 points I mentioned. Mm. By following this easy method, one is liberated. Mm. And by following instructions of acharyas, one is freed from material contamination. Life becomes successful. Mm. So hearing and chanting holy name, hearing and chanting glories of the Lord in line with previous acharyas and in association of pure devotees. Apart from that, following the instructions of the acharyas makes one successful in life. One must take to Krishna consciousness to become really happy, otherwise happiness is impossible. And one must also take up some tapasya. And such inconvenience is not as dangerous as material attempts to mitigate all misery. Meaning, we take so much of risk in trying to solve our material problems. But the tapasya required for Krishna consciousness is not as dangerous, which means that this should be done. Voluntary acceptance of some inconvenience, uh, like fasting, getting up early in the morning, not eating non-prasadam, not going to so-called, not having so-called entertainment. Um, and then, like we've been discussing, little bit taking something which is beyond our comfort zone. So some tapasya. By the way, so this one thing comes to my mind actually. I know this. We keep talking about sadhana. Sadhana means practice. And yesterday I was talking about whatever is difficult for us, whatever is naturally easy for us in devotion, we tend to start doing it very easily, right? And then there will be certain things which are difficult for us. Now, for those difficult things, we have to practice. Then you might be wondering, saying that, okay, what is this? I read something which I want to. I mean, at least it inspired me a lot. So hopefully it will inspire others also. Um, in Goloka, you might be thinking, okay, in Goloka, everything is like, all done, we done here. Then we go there and then, very easily just serve the lordships there. Okay, so now so there's one description about um, Radharani going out to meet Krishna on a dark moon night, which means that nothing is visible. There is no light, there is no torch of the, smartphone torch. There's nothing. Okay, and there is one also type of meeting where Radharani actually goes just with one attendant, one manjari. It's called Abhisara. Once what happens is, like when this some time has been fixed, meet, and then suddenly Radharani is doing is she goes into a room and then she closes all the doors, windows, everything, such that not even one little ray of sunlight is coming in. And she's trying to walk there inside in the darkness. And then Lalita Devi comes. And then she asks Radha, all the, it was pitch dark. So Lalita was thinking, saying that Radharani is resting. Then she figures saying that no, Radharani is actually walking around in the dark. And Lalita Devi becomes very surprised. She says, Radha, what happened? Why have you closed everything? Why have you made your room so dark and then you're walking around here? And then Radha says, see, I have to meet Krishna in the dead of the night when there is no light. I'm practicing so that I can walk around in that kind of an environment by just touch and feel. And then another instance where it's a rainy night and again dark rainy night. So what Radharani does is she goes to her backyard, already rainy, it's already wet, pours more water. And she asks her Saki to tie up, like blindfold her. And then again, similar conversation saying that why all this, etc. Dharani saying, night is going to be like this. Need to practice. Why practice? Because if Krishna is there, I don't want to make him wait. I don't want this my service to Krishna to get affected. So I am practicing. I mean, when I heard this, I was like just stunned. So, like, if Radharani is practicing to make her devotion perfect to Krishna, what about us? Do we think that without tapasya, we will just simply go? It was just like really, I had no words when I heard this. I said, like, oh, why does Radharani have to do all this? So, we should understand saying that without tapasya, we cannot achieve. We cannot achieve. Right? And sometimes we feel, I hear many devotees saying this, say, others are not serving. All the services come on me only. What should we do in such situation when, say, we have so much of service and nobody else is doing, or everybody is just putting their services on our head and going? What should be our feeling? Because obviously that will also be another type of tapasya, take up more than what we can chew. Hmm. This is the sought after situation in Golaka, where nobody is there and we alone can remain in the service of Radha and Krishna. This is the sought after position. This is unique. This is so difficult to obtain. So, like this, I'm saying all kinds of tapasya we might experience, in trying treading the path of pure devotion are actually just preparing us for similar tapasya in Goloka to be able to serve Radha and Krishna. Of course, there the tapasya is wanted, as in a devotee will willingly take up those tapasya because they know that it's going to give pleasure to Radha and Krishna. So don't think of tapasya as something painful. Tapasya, without tapasya, we cannot get there. And remember this all the time when we are struggling to get up in the morning, when we are struggling to overcome our anarthas. Just remember this. We have to practice. We have to do some tapasya. and remember Radha Rani's tapasya. It can be very powerful, like. But we have to remember. We'll forget, as usual. We keep hearing 150 things and then we forget. But some of these things are, we should not forget forever. So I hope, devotees will remember this and, do some sadhana to overcome their anarthas, so that our goal of life can be accomplished. Very nice verse. बालस्य नेह शरणं पितरौ नृसिंह नार्तस्य चागदमुदन्वति मद्यतो नौ तप्तस्य तत्प्रतिविधिर्य इहाञ्जशेष्टस् तावद्विभो तनुभृतां त्वदुपेक्षितानाम्. My Lord Narasimhadev was supreme because of a bodily conception of life. Embodied souls neglected and not cared for by you cannot do anything for their betterment. Because of bodily conception, embodied souls. So, embodied souls, those who are in this body and who are completely drowned in this bodily conception of life, if they are neglected and not cared for by the Lord, they cannot do anything for their betterment. Whatever remedies accept, although perhaps temporarily beneficial, are certainly impermanent. For example, a father and mother cannot protect their child. A physician in medicine cannot relieve a suffering patient. And a boat on the ocean cannot protect a drowning man. What does this mean? That means that it, unless the Lord cares for us, we cannot hope to have any type of any kind of betterment, be it material or spiritual. So don't think that, oh, okay, I have a health problem, I went to the physician, okay, it'll be done. No. Through parental care, through remedies for different kinds of diseases, and through means of protection on the water, in the air, and on land, there's always an endeavor for relief from various kinds of suffering. But none of them are guaranteed measures for protection. They may be beneficial temporarily, but they afford no permanent benefit. This is first point. Despite the presence of father, mother, child cannot be protected from accidental death, disease, and various other miseries. No one can help, including the parents. Ultimately, the shelter is the Lord. You want to take shelter of the Lord is protected. So this is the second point. First thing is, even if you get some solution, it is temporary. Second is, even if you have to get the temporary solution also, it has to be under the Lord's protection. As the Lord says, Kaunteya pratidani name bhakta pranashi. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. Therefore, unless one is protected by the mercy of the Lord, no remedial measure can act effectively. One should consequently depend fully on the causeless mercy of the Lord. Although as a matter of fortune, matter of routine duty, one must of course accept other remedial measures. No one can protect one who is neglected by the Supreme Lord. So for devotees, we should understand saying that if we have some problem, we get some solution. It's not that we should not attribute the cause to the immediate uh, source of solution. For example, you went to the doctor, your health problem went away, then you should not think, oh, doctor was so good. No. Yeah, doctor might be good, but who gave the doctor that intelligence? So we should always recognize the hand of the Supreme Lord in all our material situations. In the material world, everyone is trying to counteract onslaught of material nature, but everyone is ultimately fully controlled by material nature. Therefore, even the so-called philosophers and scientists try to surmount the onslaught of material nature. They have not been able to do so. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. Real sufferings. No one has been able to, no one has been successful in conquering these miseries. Prakriti is so strong that no one can overcome her stringent laws. So philosophers, scientists, religionists, politicians should therefore, they cannot offer facilities to people in general. They should make vigorous propaganda to awaken the populace and raise them to the platform of Krishna consciousness. Our humble attempt to propagate the Krishna consciousness movement all over the world is the only remedy that can bring about a peace. We can never be happy without the mercy of the Lord. So the upekshitanam, if suppose he is he does upeksha, meaning he neglects us, we're gone. Why will he neglect? If we keep displeasing our spirit supreme father, we shall never be happy in either the upper or lower. So we should never do something because of which the Lord will neglect us. When will the Lord neglect us? When we don't want to follow his instructions. When we want to act unlawfully, living a sinful life, or forgetting about the Supreme Lord. So two things here. One is whatever solution we get is temporary, and even if that temporary solution has to come, it will happen only if there is. One should consequently depend as much as the Lord and recognize the Lord's hand in our life, especially for a devotee. We should never forget the Lord's mercy, small or big. Every situation we have to see that it is just the Lord's mercy. यस्मिन् यतो यर्हि येन च यस्य त यस् च यस्य यस्माद् यस्मै यथा यदुत यस्तो अपरः परो वा भावः करोति विकरोति पृथक् स्वभावः संचोदितस्तदखिलं भवतः स्वरूपम्. My dear Lord, everyone in this material world is under the modes of material nature, being influenced by goodness, passion, ignorance. Everyone, from the greatest personality, Lord Brahma, down to the small ant, works under the influence of these modes. Therefore, everyone in this material world is influenced by your energy. The cause for which they work, the place where they work, the time when they work, the matter due to which they work, the goal of life they have considered final, the process for obtaining this goal, all are nothing but manifestations of your energy. Indeed, since the energy and energetic are identical, all of them are but manifestations of you. Yeah, just a philosophical clarity. Whether one thinks himself protected by his parents, by government, by some place, or by some other cause, everything is due to the various potencies of the Supreme Lord. Either it's the Supreme Lord himself or his external energy. Everything that is done, whether in the higher, middle, or lower plan systems, is due to the supervision or control of the Lord. Karmana daivanetena jantur dehopapattaye. Supreme Personality of Godhead, the super soul within the core of everyone's heart, gives inspirations for action according to one's mentality. All these mentalities are merely facilities given by Krishna to the person acting. Why? Because of the person's desire. He wants to go to hell, Krishna will say, okay, don't go. But he'll say, no, no, I want to go. Krishna will have to give the facilities because without him giving facilities, Jiva cannot obtain anything. Everyone works according to the inspiration given by the super soul. Because everyone has a different goal of life, everyone acts differently. Words yasmin yato yarhi yena cha yasya yasmat indicate that all activities are but different features of the Supreme. All of them are created by the living entity and fulfilled by the mercy of the Lord. That way it is different features of the Supreme Lord. They're all created, desired, created by the living entity and fulfilled by the Lord. Although all such activities are non-different from the Lord nonetheless directs Sarvadharman Parityajamam Ekam Chanam. So because otherwise people will argue saying that since all activities are anyway non-different from Lord, I will just continue working. Why should I do anything called devotion? No, Krishna says no. Yes, okay, that your work is also me, but give up that work and surrender unto me. Which is a call for direct devotional service. It is clear. When we accept this direction from the Lord, we can actually become happy. As long as we work according to our material senses, we are in material life. But as soon as we act according to the real transcendental direction of the Lord, our position is spiritual. And is acting or doing actions in accordance to the real transcendental direction of the Lord. So we have to get the direction of the Lord and we have to try to follow it. And that is why spiritual life means Gnana Vijnana. And what are these activities? The activities of bhakti are directly under the control of the Supreme Lord. Gopadi Vinir Tatparatvena Nirmalam. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti. When one gives up materially designated positions and works directly under the Supreme Lord, one's spiritual life directly. Directly meaning under the Guru, but is given up materially designated positions. Swarupena avasthithi, being situated in one's constitution. This is a real description of mukti. Mukti hitva anatha rupena, anatha rupam swarupena avasthithi. Hmm. Everything is happening under the Lord. Everything is the Lord Himself, because everything is just the energy of the Lord. Till the Lord says, "Give up everything and come to me only." This is the only path to become happy. Mm. And we have to act according to the real transcendental direction of the Lord. Which are activities of devotion. Give up materially designated positions, which means vanaprastha, and work directly under Supreme Lord. Get full time in devotion. This is mukti. Maya manah srujati karmamayam baliyah kalena chodita gunanumatena pumsah chandomayam yad ajayarpita shodasaram samsara chakramajo ajakotitaret tvadanyah. Lord, O Supreme Eternal, by expanding your plenary portion, you have created the subtle bodies of the living entities through the agency of your external energy, which is agitated by time. Thus, the mind entraps the living entity in unlimited varieties of desires to be filled by karma kanda. Who can get free from this entanglement unless it takes shelter at your Lord? So, the mind entraps the living entity with material desires. If the hand of the Supreme Lord is present in everything, where is the question of being liberated? Indeed, it is a fact that Krishna is the source of everything. All the activities in both the spiritual and material world are only conducted by order through the agency of either the material or spiritual nature. Maya Dekshena Prakriti Surya Satyarata. Without the direction of the Supreme Lord, material nature cannot do anything. It cannot act independently. Therefore, in the beginning, the living entity wanted to enjoy the material energy, and to give the facility, Krishna created this material world and gave the living entity the facility to concoct the different ideas and plans through the mind. And these facilities offered by the Lord constitute the 16 kinds of perverted support in terms of knowledge acquiring senses, working senses, mind, and 5 material elements. The wheel of repeated birth and death is created by the Supreme Lord, but to direct the bewildered living entity in progress toward liberation, different directions are given in the Vedas. If one wants to be elevated to higher planetary systems, he may follow certain Vedic directions. Nanti Deva Vrata Devan. The real purpose of the Vedas is to direct one back home, back to Godhead. So the living entity, not knowing the real goal of his life, wants to go sometimes here and sometimes there, and do sometimes this and sometimes that. And we also do right sometimes this, sometimes that, which is not devotional. In this way, he wanders throughout the entire universe, imprisoned in various species, thus engaging in various activities for which he must. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore says, Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Bij. Fallen condition living entity tapped by external energy loiters in the material world. But if by good fortune he meets a bona fide representative of the Lord who gives him the seed of devotion, and if he takes advantage of such a guru or representative of God, he receives the Bhakti Lata Bija. So he meets the guru and takes advantage in the form of instructions. Then he receives the Bhakti Lata. If he properly cultivates Krishna consciousness, again, properly cultivate, he is then gradually elevated to the spiritual world. Hmm? If we don't properly cultivate, then we will not go to the spiritual world. If we properly cultivate, then gradually we'll go. Of course, gradually doesn't mean that we say, okay, anyway, it's gradual, so chill. The ultimate conclusion is that one must surrender to the principles of Bhakti Yoga, for then one will gradually attain liberty. Other method of liberation from the material is possible. So important thing, meet a bona fide spiritual master, take advantage of that association, hear instructions, surrender to him, receive the Bhakti Lata Bij, properly cultivate Krishna consciousness, the Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, and is gradually elevated to the spiritual. Simple process is very simple, but we make it very complicated because we don't follow these steps. Actually, the whole philosophy of devotion is very simple. And sometimes I feel I'm just like repeating myself again and again, but that's what is written. But why is it being repeated again and again? Because we don't accept. Hmm. Sattvam hi nitya vijitatma gunaswadhamna kalo vashīkrita visrujya visarga shaktihi chakre visrishtam ajayeshvara shodashare nishpidyamanam upakarsha vibho prapannam. Oh, my dear Lord, O Supreme Great, you have created this material world of 16 constituents, but you are transcendental to their material qualities. In other words, these material qualities are under your full control and you are never conquered by them. Therefore, the time element is your representation. My Lord, no one can conquer you. As for me, however, I am being crushed by the wheel of time. And therefore, I surrender to you. Now, kindly take me under the protection. We are the prayer of all devotees who are not surrendered. We have to surrender fully, fully. Amekam. The wheel of material miseries is also creation of the Supreme Lord, but he is not under the control of the material energy, the controller. Whereas the living entities are under its control, material energy's control. When we give up our constitutional position, the Lord creates this material energy under influence over the soul. Therefore, he is the supreme and only he can deliver the conditioned soul from the onslaught of material nature. Maya continuously imposes upon conditioned souls the suffering of threefold miseries. Therefore, in the previous verse, Prahlada prayed to the Lord, but for your Lordship, no one can save me. Prahlada has also explained that a child's protectors cannot save the child, nor can medicine and physicians save one from death, nor can a boat or similar means of protection save a person drowning in the water. For everything is controlled by the Supreme Lord, therefore, suffering humanity must surrender. All of human society must take advantage of this offer. Thus be saved by Krishna from the danger of being crushed by the wheel of time. Vidyamanam, being crushed, is very significant. Every living entity in the material condition is actually being crushed again and again. And to be saved from this position, one must take shelter of the Supreme Lord. Then one will be happy. This is at least understandable to most people. Of course, it won't be understandable to people who have had, who have a lot of punya phala to be experienced in this life, which means that their life will be generally comfortable, happy, comfortable. They can't understand this. But of course, for those people, we show the example of Buddha. See the suffering of others. Okay, your suffering you might not have been not have suffering. What about others? And then question saying that why are they suffering? Why am I not suffering? Then we can understand, and then we can understand that the only way out is to surrender to the Lord. The word prapannam is also very significant. For unless one fully surrenders to the Supreme Lord, one cannot be saved from being crushed. A criminal is put in prison and punished by the government, but the same government, if it likes, can release the criminal from imprisoned life. Similarly, we must know conclusively that our material condition of suffering has been allotted to us by the Supreme Lord based on our own doing. And if you want to be saved from the suffering, you must appeal to the same controller. Hmm. And that appeal, when we appeal, Krishna says, yes, I'm ready, surrender unto me. That's all. Okay. Any question? Yeah. Anything, anybody? Okay, I will close. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. Jai. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo cha patitanam pavanebhyo namo namo Namaha. Vaita Gaurav.